Spoilers for Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Why won't anyone listen to me is the one line I took away from the show Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It seems to be the main motif, but only one character says it, Rebecca. I've been thinking a lot lately about supporting character tropes, more specifically, characters I like to call grounding characters. They might have a proper name, but I don't recall, not during a brain dump at least. These characters remind the main cast or character of their humanity or their fragility. They serve as people to turn to when MCs need guidance, or in some cases, the grounding character approaches the MCs to give them a strict talking to. They are not necessarily innately benevolent, but from a story perspective they serve to pull on the reins of the MC's ambitions, emotions, and inevitably, actions. Like Aunt May to Spider-Man, Alfred to Batman, and in recent memory, Himeko to Aki in Chainsaw Man, they tend to be characters who hold some relationship with the main character. When these grounding characters are commonly killed, it tends to, or in my opinion, it should, induce a drastic change in the MC's behavior, or cause action because their very reason for existence, or their source of motivation, the hopeful light in their darkness, is gone. I just finished watching Edgerunners, and I have been wanting to make a video on this character subject for a while but never really had the motivation to do so until Rebecca came along. What spurred me to make this video is the comparison between Gloria, David's mum, and Rebecca, a literal nobody who serves as the grounding character to David better than his own mother. Hell, she serves as a better guiding figure and dare I say mother figure than Gloria. Of course, my point of view is based off the amount of context Edgerunners gave us of Gloria, that she worked hard and even took on shady jobs to send David to a good school so he can rise the corporate ladder. But I felt her character was lackluster due to the little character development. The show killed her off during a sour turn of events where David, although appreciating her mother's efforts, finally admits that he has no interest in becoming a corpo, and that he was just bearing with school just to make her happy. However, her death occurs soon after she reveals her hopes and wishes. It may have been a translation issue, I watched the show subbed, but it felt like the mother was forcing her hopes and dreams onto her son without properly asking. All mothers want the best for their children, but sometimes the children just don't reciprocate. I would have preferred maybe one more episode of character development, more David and Gloria interactions, but that's it. David, the MC, had a change of demeanor. Fear, uncertainty, and shock. I feel that it may be an animation limitation that more nuanced expressions are hard to draw, but that was all I noticed. But what stood out to me was that I felt that what truly caused him to don the cyber skeleton was his lack of money and the bullying, but not the death of his own mother. In other words, Gloria's passing had little effect on his actions and behavior. It could be that David took Gloria for granted, given that he won't listen to what she has to say regarding buying legitimate software, for example, and that the damages incurred by his arrogance would be naturally paid by Gloria. But I don't think there's enough evidence for that. Throughout the show, he would look at his mother's ashes as if asking and praying for guidance. Side note, another reading may be that David is looking for acceptance from his deceased mother, asking if he is good enough now or if he has fulfilled his mother's hopes and wishes, especially since during one of his psychotic episodes, on his way to Arasaka Tower, he says that he will be at the top of the tower just like she would want him to be. Ironically, he says this to Rebecca's face, almost as if symbolically or whatever, the true guardian figure is Rebecca. But given what we know about the mother, what guidance can she offer that we the audience know of? What's the most that she can say? David, quit being a cyberpunk, live out my dreams and climb the corporate tower? David only truly starts looking at his mother's ashes when he's on the verge of cyberpsychosis. By then, what can he do? Why did David not listen to Gloria? I don't think we can infer much further beyond David isn't interested in listening to her, and I reckon it's because she lacks character development. I'm not saying she is a bad mother, I'm just saying that as a character, she doesn't really play a mother figure simply because there isn't enough about her, which is why I, as an audience member, feel that Gloria kinda fell flat for a supposed grounding character. And then there is Rebecca. It was clear early on that Rebecca may have had the hots for David, but following her brother's death, I think she becomes more of a sister of sorts. She begins to worry and care for David's well-being. She's the literal voice of reason up until her unceremonious death. She becomes the only person David can trust to administer the immunosuppressants if he goes cyber psycho. She quite literally nags David to not use his cyberskeleton. She accepts his reckless decisions even if it costs him his life, and as much as she wants to stop him and to let the team handle the missions, she won't, either out of respect or empathy for his circumstances. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Sadly, she screamed at the horse many times. Why won't you listen to me? What makes her impactful is her continuous presence. It's the fact that she is always there for David, from a screen time and story perspective, and the screen time increases throughout the show, almost as if to emphasize her role as possibly the only remaining grounding character by the final episode. And when she dies, David immediately goes psycho. He felt rage, and I know for certain that it was because Gloria died. That's what made her death special in my opinion, is when she went, David went. On a personal note, and wrapping up why I find Rebecca interesting, I cannot count on my hands and feet the number of times my own mother has asked, why won't you listen to me? Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but most of the time my choices have consequences that matter. My mum is there for me all the time, and the presence is a near constant. It's not a bad thing, it's just a matter of coincidence, consequence, and love. Am I self-inserting with regards to David? No, but the interaction between Rebecca and David struck home a little too well. To me, that's what makes Rebecca a fantastic grounding character. At first, I thought Rebecca would be a throwaway character. She would appear for one critical event and never appear again, especially since we weren't given a character introduction to her prior to said event. But she stayed, and appeared more and more often, until she became a critical player in David's plan, I would say the most important player. Rebecca 2022 Best Girl, try to change my mind, I will die on this hill, fight me.